For my project, I chose the John Whipple House in Ipswich. The house was first built in 1677 by Captain John Whipple, who was a high-ranking member of the British Army. The house was built in the center of town so he could showcase his wealth. The house is located near the Chope Bridge. Built in 1764, it is one of the oldest bridges in America. Like most people who came to this area, the Whipples were Puritans. The Puritans came to America to worship freely, which they could not do back in England. Interestingly, they did not give religious freedom to anyone else once they arrived in Massachusetts. In Ipswich, only members of the Puritan Church could vote and own property. This became a problem later on, when people from different churches began to settle in Ipswich. The Whipple House is a saltbox house, which was a common style of architecture in colonial times because houses had to be able to withstand the harsh New England winters. The roof slopes downward in the back, so snow can easily slide off the house and keep it from caving in. When the house was first built, it was only about half the size it is today. In 1725, Captain John Whipple's son, Major John Whipple, added another section of the house for slaves. A few of the Whipple slaves are still remembered today. During the Revolutionary War, their 15-year-old slave named Prince actually traveled with George Washington. There is a popular painting of George Washington crossing the Delaware River to attack the British troops. Prince is to his lower left. The Whipple family later became abolitionists, or people who fight against slavery. In the 1600s, Captain John Whipple became rich by distilling rum. He had worked in the textile industry back in England. The lace industry was also very important to the town of Ipswich, and is where the town got most of its money for a long time. Other industries, such as the fishing, clamming, and whaling industries, were also very important. Whale oil, for example, was used for candles, which the colonists burned in their homes during the winter. Like all colonists on the East Coast, the Whipples were British citizens. However, they later joined the fight for independence. Ipswich is known as the birthplace of American independence because protests began here instead of in Boston, as what is popularly believed. Hamilton, Rowley, and Essex used to be part of Ipswich. In Essex, John Weiss refused to pay taxes to England before the Sons of Liberty did in Boston. All members of the Whipple family were very patriotic. There were several Sons of Liberty meetings held in the house. George Washington even visited the Whipple house and the tavern across the street. During Revolutionary times, Ipswich was a very patriotic town. If a house had a white chimney, this meant that the people inside were pro-revolutionary. The Sons of Liberty used to raid colonial towns, trying to drive out the Loyalists, or people who were very loyal to the British. If a colonist's house did not have a white chimney, then the Sons of Liberty assumed that he was a Loyalist, and the Sons of Liberty would often burn the house down. There are other interesting facts about the Whipple House. During the Salem witch trials, the jails were held in Ipswich. Several citizens of Ipswich were convicted of being witches and hanged. Another interesting part of Ipswich is the Devil's Footprint. It is a footprint carved in stone located across the street from the Whipple House. Everybody's foot fits. Every day, people come and try to fit their foot inside the footprint, and every time, the foot will fit. The Whipple House is one of many historical homes in Essex County. The story of the Whipples is just one of many stories that highlight the most important events in American history.